Hi, this is Miss Deanne from the Early Learning Center, actually coming to you from outside today. Wanting to talk to you about a topic that I get a lot of questions about from parents about and have lived with my own life. What do we do when our kids lie to us? I think when we first see or hear our child lie, we have an immediate reaction, at least I know I do, of, oh my gosh, my child is lying. What else are they going to lie about in the future? And will I be able to trust my child? So the first thing I want to say to you today is, whenever my husband and I talk about lying, he actually reminds me of a quote from Gandhi. And one of the things that Gandhi said was, he would ask someone if they were lying to him. He would say, what is it about me that causes you not to be able to trust me enough or feel safe enough to be able to tell me the truth? And I find that a really powerful quote because it reminds us that what the key is for our children is to feel safe. I think it's important to get to the why behind what children are communicating when they lie. What they're communicating is, I don't feel safe, I'm panicking, and so I'll do whatever it takes to get out of the current situation because I don't feel safe. So, not that we aren't safe people, or that, but that our children are just worried and concerned. And we really want our children to be able to speak truthfully and honestly to us. So I have just a couple of things to kind of help guide you along today as we think about this in a mindful way. How do we mindfully parent our children and teach them to be able to feel safe enough to tell us the truth? The first thing that I would say is, try not to put your child in a position where they feel the need to lie. This happens in my house. One of the big things that comes up with is toothbrushing time. My child, I have a child maybe like some other children who don't want to take the time to go brush their teeth. They would rather be playing or, just stay in bed or whatever that may be. So the first thing that I would say is, how do you phrase the question? I have learned, even as my children get older and I'm not standing over them anymore while they brush their teeth, I used to say, hey, did you brush your teeth? Well, I would find sometimes that my child wouldn't always be honest with me about that. And that he would just instinctively and quickly tell me, yeah, of course, I already did it. So that he didn't have to stop what he was doing and go brush his teeth. So now, I try to make sure that I don't phrase it that way. I instead say, hey, go brush your teeth. It's time to brush your teeth. And 9 times out of 10, he will actually go brush his teeth rather than trying to fight me on it then. So we try not to put our children in a position, we can say things in such a way where we're not setting them up to feel the need to lie. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing that I would say is to be proactive about it. If you notice that your child is not telling you the truth about some things, and it's happening fairly consistently, look and see what those things are about. What is it that your child may be scared of? And then talk to your child about it. Explain to your child that trust is a huge part of relationship. And it's a huge part of, as we grow older, of people knowing that they can count on you. And so talk to them about it beforehand and say, I noticed that when I ask you to brush your teeth, for example, that sometimes you tell me, or I ask if you did brush your teeth, sometimes you tell me you did when I know that you didn't. Can you tell me what's up with that? And try to invite them into the conversation about that. What about that scares you? And what about that makes you not tell me the truth? And then say, be empathetic towards it. I get it. I understand. You don't want to quit playing. You're uncomfortable with toothbrushing, especially kiddos with sensory issues can really feel uncomfortable with things like toothbrushing. And so if we recognize that, we may just find out from them what's going on behind that and how we could maybe make that time a little bit easier. But then after that, after we give them empathy about it, we need to say, okay, but not telling the truth is a big deal in relationships. And so we have a problem that we need to solve. I need to know when I ask you a question that you're telling me the truth. So what can we do together to try to solve this problem? Then instead of making it us versus them and creating more of a heightened sense of fear, because remember that the amygdala kicks in at any given time, and that sense of fear will cause them to make an impulsive decision to try to, and that's kind of a flight technique. Oh my gosh, I know what's going to happen if I tell mom the truth or dad the truth, so I better quick make up a story so that I won't get in trouble. So lying is a way to try to flee from the situation. And I think sometimes we see it more as a character flaw than we do understanding it from the brain perspective. When we begin to look at it from a brain perspective, that they don't feel safe, they're trying to flee the situation, then we can begin to problem solve with them. Doesn't mean that it's okay. And we can begin to tell them and explain to them why it's so important. So I think the two things that I really want to come across today is that one, that we make sure that we're safe enough for our children to be completely honest with us. If we overreact when they tell us that they messed up, it's going to continue to cause them to not feel safe enough to tell us in the future. Especially if we do this in the little things now, in the big things later, it's going to become an even bigger deal. How do our kids feel about telling us if they screwed up or that they messed up or that they made a bad choice? Because how do we react when they do? Are we seeing it as a problem to solve, or are we looking at it as an opportunity to punish? Because if we're looking for an opportunity to punish, we're going to create more fear. And more fear creates more fight, flight, or freeze responses. So we don't want that fear in our relationship. Instead, we want them to be problem solvers with us. We want to be collaborative with them. How do we solve this problem together? So creating a safe place for our kiddos to be honest and truthful, making sure that we ask questions or good questions that don't put them in a place where they feel the need to lie, but instead rephrase things like, will you, or you need to do this now, as opposed to, did you do this or did you do that? This can be true with homework, putting away clothes, toothbrushing, all those kinds of things that you're asking them. And then third, making sure that we see it as a problem to solve as opposed to a character flaw that we need to punish. So I think if we even I put that title in as I help my kids a liar. I think if we even challenge ourselves on that, of realizing that it's about brain stuff again and not just about a character flaw, it will help us reshape how we're responding to our children and not just reacting. I hope you're having a great mindful week. I hope you had a great fall vacation. And, at the Early Learning Center, we're all about trying to figure out how we solve problems. And so I hope you and your children and your entire family unit are having a good problem solving week. You guys take care and have a great mindful week.